Hey there, Chipmunks! Welcome to the AMP Cycling Ride Review Series. I'm your host, Angry Chipmunk, and today we're in the United States riding through the desert of Red Rock Country, Arizona. This route is available on Rouvy, so let's get right to it. This is a relatively short route at just over 29 kilometers long and rather flat with only 308 meters of elevation gain. The route averages just 1% and will max out at 9%. There are 2 Strava segments included on this ride and several smaller hills which you'll be getting for free. The first segment is Red Rock Hill. It starts at about the 5.7 kilometer mark, is 1.9 kilometers long with 50 meters of elevation gain. The segment averages 2.6% and will peak at about 9%. The start of this hill is really quite mild, with the steepest section being in the middle. You'll see the peak gradient in the first of the darker orange sections, with the remainder not exceeding 7%. There are several smaller hills leading up to the segment, which are very similar to the segment itself. There's no real need to pace any of this, so you can ride it similarly to the starting hills. After that, there's a very long flat section to the second hill with one small bump that peaks at 7%. This is a great spot to push along pretty hard, and with such a low amount of elevation gain in this ride, there's no real need to save any energy here. The second segment is Rim Rock Climb. It starts at the 17.8 kilometer mark, is 5.8 kilometers long with 81 meters of elevation gain. This one averages just 1.4% and peaks at about 8.5%. This one is very mellow up until the last 1 kilometer or so. Again, there's no real need to pace this one at all, and best of all, the last few hundred meters drop you off onto a gravel road. From here to the end is mostly downhill with a slight upturn in the last kilometer, so you can push it along pretty hard here or take it easy. Now for this ride, you'll actually be wanting a pretty decent warm-up, as about half the climbing is completed before the 10 kilometer mark. I would say give it at least 10 minutes unless you want to push pretty hard, and then I would say probably go for 15 minutes. And it's a pretty good route for pushing hard, so be sure to warm up for your intended effort. With the slight upturn at the end, a good cooldown is definitely recommended for this one, regardless of your pace. And as always, I suggest pre-fueling for this ride, and be sure to include plenty of protein with that. I like to aim for about 25 to 30 grams of protein for my pre-ride meals. This one is not very long, so you don't actually want to be wasting too much time eating during the ride itself. And if you can't pre-fuel, aim for about 10 to 15 grams just after the first segment. And if you're pushing this one, follow it up with a post-ride protein of some sort, but it's not really that necessary if you're going at an easy or moderate pace. The view on this ride totally surprised me. I'm usually looking for big mountain passes or routes through forests and fields, so that I didn't expect a strange journey through the desert to be so amazing. The large rock formations in the distance look super impressive on the video, so I'm sure they're mind-boggling in real life. They rise up so strangely from the flat around them, they seem to have just been placed there. And once you turn away from that onto the more scrub-filled areas, there's some pretty amazing looking mountains off in the distance. Now, I went at a moderate pace for this ride and completed it in just under 1 hour on 100% difficulty emulation. With wanting a longer warm-up for this route, I would say to budget anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes. And if you're pretty quick, this one can be a suitable choice for time constraints. Overall, this was a surprisingly fun route that I would definitely recommend for pretty much any level of rider. The climbs are really not that difficult and easily achieved Little Ring if you're newer. After the first hills, it's pretty flat, so it can be a good way to train for more difficult hills. And if you're more experienced, it can be a great short evening route or something to sandwich around bigger climbs or longer routes. For this route, I would give a 4 out of 5. The starting bit in the city and highway aren't great, but it soon turns onto a nice country road with the added bonus of gravel. And remember, speed equals dust, so ride hard, chipmunks. For the climbs, 0.5 of 5. Neither are very difficult and can be done at a slow and easy pace if you need to. For the view, 4.5 out of 5. I was totally taken aback by how much I enjoyed this view, and it has made me think to broaden my riding scope to include more different kinds of terrain. And overall, 4.5 out of 5. I definitely enjoyed this one more than I thought I would, and having it accessible to all levels of rider is a definite bonus. Well, That's it for this review, so thanks for watching, Chipmunks. Please let me know what you think of the Red Rock Country when you've completed it, and let me know if you found the view as surprisingly beautiful as I did. I'll leave you to finish the rest of the ride, and I'll see you next week for another review. Until then, ride on, Chipmunks! Ride on.
He was.